Zhang Fan traveled to the 49th city in 1951. There is only one red paper and ink written wedding letter all over my body. Following the address on the marriage letter, I unexpectedly arrived at 95, Nanluogu Lane. At the beginning, Zhang Fan faced the situation where his mother.In.Law's family was about to sell their house and return to the village. Fortunately, Zhang Fan awakened his spiritual space. In an era where food was unaffordable, there was always plenty of fish and meat. Facing the birds, Zhang Fan broke through one by one. Grandpa 1. Sigh. Hate it. If only Zhang Fan could provide me with retirement. Second Grandpa. Zhang Fan, can you help me take a look at my leadership position? Third Uncle. His mother, come on, help Zhang Fan kill today's fish. Qin Huairu. Zhang Fan, please help our family. Bang Ji is still small, but he cannot be nutritious. Jia Zhang Shi. This damn Zhang Fan, there are so many delicious foods that I don't know how to give me a bite. I curse your life as a desperate person. Zhang Fan himself said that I just want to guard my wife and children on the hot kang, and the animals in the courtyard have nothing to do with me. What are you saying? They broke the defense. I won't be there. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. From the 1st to the 4th 9 cities. You are listening at Novel Full.Audio. Number 95 Nanluogu Lane, 49 cities. In the winter of 1951, the cold wind kept blowing through the streets, and pedestrians on the road hurriedly walked in thick cotton clothes. At this moment, a tall and upright young talent stopped at the door of the courtyard. Is this where it is? Zhang Fan looked at the wedding letter written in red paper and ink in his hand, and couldn't help but feel lost in thought. Zhang Fan was originally a 996 worker on Earth, but unfortunately died suddenly after working overtime. Then, as soon as I opened my eyes, I arrived at the world of poultry-filled quadrangles. Not only that, but it also traveled to a boy who had been frozen to death. I learned from my predecessor's memory. His predecessor's name was also Zhang Fan. He came to the 49 cities because his parents had passed away and he had no support, coupled with his young age and lack of skills to make a living. So before his death, his father confessed that he had arranged a child marriage for his predecessor and asked him to join him. Then, the predecessor was frozen to death at the entrance of the 49th city due to the long journey. After waking up, it was Zhang Fan, the traveler. Can I be considered as my son.In.Law-in-law? But in my impression, the beasts in the courtyard seem to have never invited a son.In.Law to come to their door. Is it? Young man, why are you standing here? Are you looking for someone? Suddenly, a middle-aged male voice interrupted Zhang Fan's thoughts. Zhang Fan looked up. Before the meeting, there stood a middle-aged man sweeping the snow, with a broken leg glasses on his face. Zhang Fan couldn't help but think to himself as he looked at the man in front of him. Good guy, isn't this the cunning third master in the courtyard, Yan Bugui? Upon hearing the words of the third master Yan Bugui, Zhang Fan also nodded and said. Grandpa, that's right, I'm here to find someone. May I ask if you know Lu Guizhi? Upon hearing Zhang Fan's words, Yan Bugui's face showed a surprised expression, but soon he concealed it. Yan Bugui nodded and smiled, saying. I know, what's wrong? Do you have anything to do with her? Well, I'm her son.In.Law and I came to 49 cities to seek refuge with her. Upon hearing Zhang Fan's words, Yan Bugui also pointed to the courtyard and then said. Lu Guizhi lives in the middle courtyard, and when you arrive, you will know as soon as you ask. After speaking, Yan Bugui turned aside and let Zhang Fan in. After receiving a response, Zhang Fan also stepped into the courtyard from the threshold. Looking at Zhang Fan's gradually fading figure, Yan Bugui quickly threw down the broom in his hand. Then he immediately ran back to the house. The child is his mother. No good. Widow Lu from the middle courtyard, her son.In.Law has come to her door. Yan Bugui kept shouting as soon as he got home. He said he met Zhang Fan at the door. After speaking, Yan Bugui showed a worried expression again. Yang Ruihua, what can you do about this? Lu Guiji's son.In.Law has arrived, how can we calculate for her house? My original intention was that their orphan and widowed mother would not have a job, so when they don't have the money this winter, they won't be able to survive and sell their houses back to the countryside. When the time comes, we can lower the price and buy their house, which can also be used for marriage. How could she calculate when her son In.Law arrives? Yan Bugui looked anxious. I see you, you're just too eager to get her house, you've been messing around for a while. Isn't this a good thing? The three aunties on the side listened to the words of the three elders and said. How can this be called a good thing? You can tell me. Yan Bugui listened to his wife's words and seemed to mean, is there a turning point in this? Think about it, that widow Lu's doorstep son.In.Law. What are you here for? He came to seek refuge. What does defecting mean? It means he doesn't have a job. His son.In.Law doesn't have a job, and the widow Lu and her daughter's family also don't have a job. With an extra mouth for eating, coupled with the fact that grain prices are increasing day by day. Can you tell me, is this a good thing or a bad thing? After listening to Sanda Ma's analysis, Sandiyi showed a wise expression, look at my head, I didn't think so much for a moment, I was in a hurry. Sure enough, this calculation still needs to be done slowly, not in a hurry. At this point, Yan Bugui's face showed a chrysanthemum-like brilliant smile. Then the couple looked at each other and smiled, and soon, the three mothers celebrated such good things. Decided to have a meal of meat tonight. After thinking about it, go out and take out the leftover dishes that were brought back from the previous meal and frozen in the snow. This conversation is over. At this moment, Zhang Fan was struggling with the conversation between the third master and the third mother just now. I also came to the courtyard. It's exactly the same as the TV play I watched before. As soon as I stepped into the courtyard, I saw the familiar laundry pool and a ferocious old lady. Jia Zhang. At this moment, Jia Zhang is washing clothes in the laundry pool. This damn water temperature. Let no one live. Lao Jia, take a look. After you leave, even this laundry detergent is bullying us orphans and widows. Jia Zhang cursed at the air while washing clothes. Realizing the arrival of Zhang Fan. What kind of person are you? What are you doing in our hospital? Jia Zhang suddenly let out a sharp explosive sound to question Zhang Fan. It seems to be venting dissatisfaction with the water temperature onto Zhang Fan. New book set sale, seek data, seek flowers, seek evaluation tickets. Chapter 2. Does the mother.In.Law want to sell a house? You are listening at Novel Full.Audio. Zhang Fan looked at the ferocious old woman in front of him. There was a moment of silence in my heart. It really fits the personality of the original work. Thinking so in his heart, but Zhang Fan didn't say it. After all, Zhang Fan is not here to argue with this shrew now. There is something important to do. Moreover, Zhang Fan also disdains to argue with such vulgar women. Zhang Fan has 100 different ways to deal with her, so as not to be too quick on the tongue. So Zhang Fan patiently asked. This lady. I'm here to find Ms. Lu Guiji. May I ask, which room is her house? Looking at Zhang Fan's warm smile, Jia Zhang seemed to realize that her tone was not right. However, due to face saving, Jia Zhang still put on a horse-like face and said. You're looking for Widow Lu, here it is. As he spoke, he withdrew his hand from the washing pool and pointed Zhang Fan in a direction. Zhang Fan followed the direction pointed by Jia Zhang and looked behind him. After seeing the dilapidated house, Zhang Fan took a step over. Walked towards the door. Zhang Fan was about to reach out and knock on the door. Squeak. The door opens from the inside. A face adorned with pink jade suddenly appeared before my eyes. Then the entire door opened. Looking at the girl suddenly appearing in front of me. Zhang Fan also fell into embarrassment for a moment. But Zhang Fanue became more familiar with it. Isn't this the celebrity Zhao Luqian from his past life? Then he had to politely ask. Hello, may I ask if Aunt Lu Guizhi is at home? Upon hearing Zhang Fan's words, the girl's pretty face turned red and she finally regained consciousness from her daze. Timidly speaking. My mother is not at home now. Is there anything you want to do with her? It's like this, I'm Zhang Fan from Zhangjia village in Chongping. I received my father's instructions to come here and complete the doll marriage I set when I was young. Zhang Fan explained his purpose of coming. But it was these words that made the girl's face even redder. The girl looked at Zhang Fan, who was handsome and elegant in front of her. Although she was thin, Zhang Fan's spirit and spirit were not bad at all. This is still because in this era, there was not enough food to eat and hunger, otherwise Zhang Fan would have been a tall and upright beautiful man. The girl thought of Zhang Fan's words again, and the blush on her cheeks deepened a bit. So the girl opened the door and said. You can come and sit for a while first, my mom might come back soon. By the way, my name is Jiang Xinyue and I am Lu Guizhi's daughter. After saying these words, Jiang Xinyue's face turned even redder and she walked towards the inner room with her head buried. Hear the words of Jiang Xinyue. Zhang Fan also understood why Jiang Xinyue was so shy. I met my future daughter.In.Law in advance. Zhang Fan just sat down. At this moment, the sound of opening the door came out again. Squeak. As the wooden door opens. A middle-aged woman walked in from the door. Middle-aged women have many traces of time on their faces, but it is not difficult to see that they were also beautiful when they were young. Looking at the stranger inside the room. Lu Guizhi also inquired. Who is this? Hello Aunt Lu, my name is Zhang Fan. Wait for Zhang Fan to explain his background. Lu Guizhi also burst into tears. Unexpectedly, old Zhang also. Then he stepped forward and hugged Zhang Fan. Good child, when I come to Aunt Lu's place in the future, I will live a good life. By the way, have you brought your identification? Since it's the engagement we've already made, let's quickly get this matter done. Mom. Lu Guizhi's words have just finished. There is a sweet female voice coming from the inner room. I saw Jiang Xinyue running out of the inner room. With a shy expression, she pulled and shook Lu Guizhi's arm to act coquettishly. Mom, I don't want to get married yet. Besides, isn't our family going to buy a house and go back to our hometown now? This house has been sold, how can Fan and I get married? Speaking of which, Jiang Xinyue's pretty face showed a regretful expression. Upon hearing this, Zhang Fan also felt something was wrong and quickly asked. Aunt Lu. What's going on with selling a house? Upon hearing Zhang Fan's questioning, Lu Guizhi no longer concealed it. Explained the reason to Zhang Fan. Originally, it wasn't Lu Guizhi who wanted to sell a house. Actually, it's because there's really no money left to make a living. I had to sell my house to survive. Lu Guizhi's husband, also known as Zhang Fan's late father.In.Law. He passed away unexpectedly at the steel rolling mill due to a machine operation error. But the factory said it was due to improper operation and did not provide compensation. Even the position of Lu Guizhi's husband. No compensation was given to their family. But Lu Guizhi, as a female streamer, spent most of her life teaching her husband and children, without learning any skills. Naturally, the family's source of income was cut off. Lu Guizhi can only do odd jobs every day. Helping others wash clothes and do household chores, such as mild physical labor. But the income from this livelihood is both small and unstable. That's why the situation where their mother and daughter's family are almost unable to make a living now has arisen. And in the winter of the 4 or 9 cities. I don't have money to eat, but I will starve and freeze people to death. So, in the absence of any other options, I had to make the plan to sell a house. It's okay, we still have houses in our rural hometown. The money from selling this house, you can live a good life with Xiao Fan. In the future, just give birth to a chubby kid to fill me up. It's just that Xiao Fan has suffered. Xiao Fan, you won't mind our family's xinu, will you? Lu Guizhi apologized and said to Zhang Fan. Upon hearing this, Zhang Fan's heart also warmed. Lu Guizhi's family is already like this, and it's really touching to still want to help him. However, Zhang Fan's next words did surprise Lu Guizhi and Jiang Xingyue. New book set sale, seek data, seek flowers, seek evaluation tickets. Chapter 3. What a big fish. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Aunt Lu. We don't have to sell houses. When I was a child, I learned a few martial arts skills from an old man, and fishing and hunting were no problem. There's still no problem feeding our family. Zhang Fan confidently said. Looking at Zhang Fan with a confident expression on his face. Lu Guizhi's mother and daughter also showed a skeptical expression. Perhaps it was out of caring for the younger generation. Lu Guizhi said to Zhang Fan with half concern. Xiao Fan, you just arrived in the city. Even if you have the ability to hunt, our city is far from that big mountain. Besides, hunting is also a dangerous way of life. Your father will hand you over to me. I can't let you make any mistakes. Upon hearing Lu Guizhi's words, Zhang Fan's heart warmed. Knowing that Lu Guizhi is concerned about him. But since Zhang Fan can say such words, there must be confidence in it. Actually, during Zhang Fan's time traveling, also awakened a spiritual field space. There is an inexhaustible spiritual spring inside, and taking a sip can enhance one's physical fitness. If it weren't for this spiritual spring, Zhang Fan wouldn't have been able to hold on to the entrance of the courtyard and would have been frozen to death twice in the 49th city. Not only that, but there is also a whole acre of undeveloped spiritual land. Just plant the seeds to harvest the crops. It can be said that there are such cheats. In this era, wealth is not to be underestimated. Eating and drinking without worrying is definitely not a problem. And by the way, during this period, having more money is not necessarily a good thing. Zhang Fan still understands the principle of not revealing wealth. Thinking of this, Zhang Fan spoke up. Aunt Lu, don't worry. I happen to have nothing to do today, so I'll go out and take a look. See if there are any fishing spots in these 4 or 9 cities. After speaking, Zhang Fan asked if there were any fishing rods or similar at home. By the way, Aunt Lu, do we still have fishing rods at home? Upon hearing Zhang Fan's words, Lu Guizhi knew she couldn't resist, so she asked her daughter Jiang Xingyue to bring the fishing rod that old Zhang had previously used. Uncle Zhang also caught some fish during his free time before his death. As she spoke, Lu Guizhi took the fishing rod and handed it to Zhang Fan. Remember to be careful, just as winter has just entered, the ice is not solid enough. Don't neglect to fall into the ice hole. Lu Guizhi repeatedly instructed. Let Zhang Fan, the traveler, feel the warmth from home for the first time. Well, Aunt Lu, I will pay attention. After speaking, Zhang Fan took the fishing rod and went out. Wait, Xiaoye, you accompany Xiao Fan. Xiao Fan has just arrived at 49 cities and is not familiar with everything here yet. Take Xiao Fan and take a stroll. Oh, Jiang Xingyue reluctantly let out a cry. Then he went out with Zhang Fan. Not long. The two of them arrived at a crowded fishing spot. There are not only fishermen here. There are still many people playing. Many old men are guarding their fishing spots, holding a small horseshoe and sitting waiting for the fish to catch the bait. I saw a strange young face. These gentlemen all showed a curious look. After all, the process of waiting for fish is always boring. However, most of the old masters do not have confidence in Zhang Fan, a young man. It feels like a couple came to play and play. Not like someone who came to fish seriously. It seems that everyone's food is not enough in winter. This young man has also come out to fish and subsidize his family. When I say, Lao Li, you don't understand, have you seen anyone else? At this moment, the young couple came out to play. You, don't worry so much. Hey, don't say it anymore. I'm hooked on it, hey. A few nearby gentlemen chatted without a word. Zhang Fan and Zhang Shi casually found a spot. After trying the firmness of the ice surface, knock open a hole. Zhang Fan took out his fishing rod and casually flipped over a handful of mud on the ground, hanging it on the hook. Then he started fishing. But the seemingly casual operation is actually not at all casual. Zhang Fan is just providing a cover for applying Lingquan water. Brother Fan, can you catch fish like this? Zhang Shi has seen her own father fishing. Anyway, she has never seen a fish caught in mud before. Don't you just wait and you'll know. Zhang Fan smiled faintly. But Zhang Fan's scene left the gentleman beside him speechless. Hey! Let me tell you what, these young couple are here to joke around. Have you ever seen someone fishing with mud, brothers? It's just that. Just don't affect my mouth here. I guess I won't catch any fish in a while before I leave. A few gentlemen saw Zhang Fan's operation and started chatting again. Whoosh! Suddenly, a strong force came from the fishing rod in Zhang Fan's hand. Hey, it's fish. Zhang Fan didn't care about sliding the fish. With such a large area, Zhang Fan directly used brute force to pull the fish up. Wow! A burst of water-breaking sound came out. Pop 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 pop. Then I saw a big fish flipping back and forth on the ground, knocking the ice surface with a popping sound. Zhang Shi saw the big fish caught by Zhang Fan on the side. First, he was taken aback, then he looked incredulous. Then, a surprised smile appeared on his face. Wow! Brother Fan! What a big fish! New book set sale, seek data, seek flowers, seek evaluation tickets. Chapter 4. Days will get better and better. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Wow! Brother Fan! What a big fish! The pleasant surprise of Zhang Shi came from beside her. Zhang Fan looked at his cheap wife. I also felt a wave of relief in my heart. I only lament how good and innocent the girl is now. A fish can be happy like this. Zhang Fan casually put the fish into the basket. I weighed it with my hands, at least 20 pounds. Zhang Fan's operation. Not only did I stare blankly at Zhang Shi, even a few old men who spend their days fishing around the house. I was also stunned by it. Can this also serve fish? Isn't it just joking with my brothers again? We've been sitting here all afternoon, not to mention the fish, we haven't even seen the bubbles they spit out. Maybe it's luck, how do you say that word? Novice protection period, yes, novice protection period. I can't accept his newbie protection period anymore. The big men on the side occasionally discussed with Zhang Fan. But during their discussion, Zhang Fan has started fishing again. Wow! 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 With the constant sound of splashes coming out. Zhang Fan's basket is almost full. Seeing that this basket was almost full, Zhang Fan said to Zhang Shi beside him. Xinhua, let's go home first. We've almost finished fishing today. Oh. Zhang Shi beside her was still immersed in the surprise that Zhang Fan had brought her. At this moment, the whole person had not yet recovered, and a silly smile occasionally appeared on their face. You silly little girl, I see you're so happy. With you, Fan Zige, our family will not worry about life in the future. Zhang Fan scraped her Qiong nose and said. Looking at the whole basket of fish in front of me, I thought about the embarrassment of meeting Zhang Fan for the first time before. Zhang Xinyue's pretty face blushed twice with a swish. Fanzi, you're bad. Zhang Xinyue and Zhang Fan had a fight. Comrade, may I ask if you sell this fish? At this moment, a heavy middle-aged male voice interrupted the two's playfulness. Zhang Fan looks at people who have come. I saw a middle-aged man wearing a neat Zhongshan suit slowly walking towards Zhang Fan. Knowing the purpose of the person in front of him, how could Zhang Fan refuse? He is fishing so many fish here, intending to use fishing to earn his first bucket of startup funds. It's for sale. Then Zhang Fan started trading with the middle-aged man. After negotiating the price, Zhang Fan sold 143 kilograms and 6 tails at a price of 80 cents per kilogram. The final income was 114.88 yuan. In the transaction, it was learned that the middle-aged man's name was Xing Jinghua and he was the head of the procurement department of a police station in Nanluogu Lane. I'm worried that there won't be enough supplies in the winter shelter. Unexpectedly, I met Zhang Fan here. Although the quantity is not large, it is always better than nothing. Moreover, fish is a good thing. If you don't eat it, you can keep it. If you want to eat it at any time, you can kill one. The meat is delicious. Zhang Fan and Zhang Xinyue, carrying huge sums of money, returned home along the way. At this moment, Zhang Xinyue was still sipping the newly purchased big white rabbit milk candy in her mouth. The rich aroma of milk exploded in the taste buds on the tongue, and a sweet smile appeared on Zhang Xinyue's face. Even she didn't realize when she took the initiative to hold on to Zhang Fan's solid arm. The two people who returned home. As soon as I entered the house, I saw Lu Guizhi busy. Mom, what did Fanzi get today? Zhang Xinyue ran forward and said. Lu Guizhi, who was tidying up Zhang Fan's house, also stopped working and turned to look at the two people who had just returned home. You damn girl, every serious person is careless about anything. Lu Guizhi said so, but the indulgence on her face did not diminish at all. But after seeing the fish in Zhang Xinyue's hand, the whole person also couldn't calm down. Is this the fish that Xiaofan caught? Lu Guizhi said with a shocked expression. Yeah. This is what Fanzi caught. Mom, let me tell you, brother Fanzi is really amazing. He caught a lot of fish today. Zhang Xinyue proudly recounted today's experience to her mother. After listening to what happened today, Lu Guizhi's calm expression was once again shocked. What? I caught over 100 pounds of fish. Yes, Mom. Not only that, but Fan Gu also sold it for over 100 yuan. Zhang Xinyue said with a proud expression, as if saying, look, my man has skills. Speaking of which, Zhang Fan also took out the money he earned from selling fish today from his bag. Extract 20 from it, and pass the rest to Lu Guizhi. Aunt Lu, take this money and improve our family's life. Looking at the white bills in front of me, Lu Guizhi only felt like she was dreaming. She has never seen so much money since her husband passed away. You should know that there is an old man in the courtyard, an 8-level fitter, whose monthly salary is only over 80 yuan but less than 90 yuan. But Zhang Fan earned a whopping 114 yuan from fishing this afternoon. What concept, earning an extra penny in an afternoon compared to someone else's level 8 fitter in a month? However, this is all for later discussion. After all, Silly Zhu is still an apprentice, earning only 10 yuan per month, with a salary of only 23.5 yuan later on. Lu Guizhi thought for a moment and then pushed the money back. Xiao Fan, this money was earned by you and should be given to you. Besides, you are now the only man in this family, and financial power should also be entrusted to you. Looking at Lu Guizhi's resolute expression on her face, Zhang Fan couldn't resist any longer. Then 2 portions of 20 will be taken out and distributed to Lu Guizhi and Jiang Xinyue. Aunt Lu, Xinyue, you've been living hard for a long time. In the future, you can buy whatever you want. Don't worry, life will get better and better. Zhang Fan said seriously. New book set sale, seek data, seek flowers, seek evaluation tickets. Chapter 5. Fragrant fish soup in the whole hospital. You are listening at novel full.audio. I can't resist Zhang Fan. Lu Guizhi also took the money. Mom, you can accept it. Fan Zige is also doing it for our good. If you have money, you won't have to go out and do odd jobs in the future, will you? Seeing her own mother accepting the money, Jiang Xinyue also showed a happy smile. You dead girl, what do you know? Ren Xiaofan hasn't married you yet. Are we people who take other people's things for free? Lu Guizhi said with a displeased expression, while looking at Zhang Fan with an apologetic expression behind her. Zhang Fan naturally knew the nature of his mother.in.law's family, otherwise he wouldn't have helped them for no reason. After all, the previous family had received help from their family when they couldn't eat before. If the 2 families had a good conversation, otherwise they wouldn't have arranged for Zhang Fan to marry him. Although Zhang Fan is a traveler, he is not a ruthless person. His mother.in.law's family can be said to be the only relatives in this world. If it's not good for them, who else is it good for? Speaking of this, Jiang Xinyue's face showed another blush. It seems that I'm afraid my man might run away and not want her. Jiang Xinyue actually took the initiative to speak up. Mom, brother Fanzi, why don't you find a time to get your marriage certificate? After saying these words, Jiang Xinyue's face blushed uncontrollably. His head was also buried low in his chest, eager to find a hole to burrow into. Xiaofan, I made you laugh. Lu Guizhi said apologetically. But Xinyue is right. You also need to find a time to collect the certificate and move your household registration over. Otherwise, it will be difficult to find a job. Lu Guizhi also spoke seriously. At her age, she has no other thoughts and just wants to have a grandson as soon as possible. It's best, give me another good grandson hug. After expressing her thoughts, Jiang Xinyue's face turned even redder. Looking so shy and cute. Zhang Fan also had this intention. After all, a beautiful woman in front of us cannot be eaten just by sight, no one can do it. Moreover, in order to prepare for the subsequent grain quota, it is necessary to move the household registration over. Otherwise, even having food will be a problem. However, Zhang Fan, who has a spiritual field space, naturally does not have this anxiety. It's just that there must be a reason for how the food comes from. Thinking of this, Zhang Fan said. Okay, Aunt Lu, I'll go back to the village tomorrow and complete the procedures and introduction letter. Strive to get rid of the evidence with Xinu in these 2 days. Speaking of which, Jiang Xinyue only felt that her face was extremely hot. However, a sweet smile still appeared at the corner of his mouth. Okay, that's it. Mom will cook delicious food for you tonight. Lu Guizhi unconsciously changed her address. As she spoke, she took the fish from Jiang Xinyue's hand and walked towards the kitchen. Mom, I'm also here to help. Upon seeing the situation, Jiang Xinyue quickly followed suit and fled to the kitchen as if, but the blush on her face did not dissipate for a long time. Before long, a pot full of fish fillets was served on the dining table. Although no seasoning was added. But the meat of this fish is delicious. Waves of fragrance kept spreading. It makes people lose their appetite when they smell it. Aunt Lu is really skilled. Zhang Fan praised it. No, Mom, your craftsmanship is really good. Upon hearing Zhang Fan's changed address, Lu Guizhi's face also showed a happy smile. Come on, Xiao Fan, eat more. As he spoke, he picked a large piece of fish for Zhang Fan with chopsticks. Come, Xiao Fan, have a bowl of fish soup. The other residents in the courtyard are a different kind of scenery. The Jia family in the middle courtyard. Widow Lu, who killed me this day. Her family is nothing but her. I don't know how to send such a fragrant fish to help our orphaned mother. Eating so well, sooner or later you'll end up like a penniless person. Lao Jia, take a look. After you leave, the whole courtyard is bullying us. Jia Zhang cursed like a shrew and said. While cursing and vigorously sucking on the taste of fish soup in the air, it seems that the steamed bun in my hand is more fragrant to eat. The Lu family in the backyard. The second uncle smelled the rich fish aroma in his bangs. Who's eating fish? I, the leader, didn't eat fish. My son, his mother, will buy a small crucian carp to cook fish soup tomorrow. Lu Haizhong looked like a leader, teaching his two youngest sons a lesson while speaking. What are you looking at? Do you still want to eat fish? It would be great to have this steamed bun to eat. The deaf old lady's home in the backyard. At this moment, an old man named Zhonghai was delivering food to the deaf old lady here. Zhonghai, which family has eaten fish? Can you help me go and see if that child from the factory, silly Zhu, has packed the fish back? My old lady has bad teeth, just ask for a bowl of soup to drink. The deaf old lady smelled the smell of fish, and even after finishing her steamed buns, her appetite couldn't help but surge again. Okay, old lady, I'll go take a look. Zhonghai looked serious and went out to inquire which restaurant had eaten fish today. At this time, Zhang Fan's home. 3 people have almost finished eating a bowl of fish fillets. Not even a few bites of fish soup were left. This was only finished with Zhang Fan's strong persuasion. Otherwise, Lu Guizhi would like to keep the stick noodles in fish soup tomorrow. Bang! At this moment, the door suddenly opened. New book set sale, seek data, seek flowers, seek evaluation tickets. Chapter 6. A Fair and Honest Zhonghai. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Bang! The wooden door of Zhang Fan's house suddenly opened. I saw a middle-aged man walking in from the door. Zhang Fan took a closer look. The person who came was an old man from the courtyard, Zhonghai. Seeing an old man about to speak, Zhang Fan immediately said displeased. Who are you? May I ask if you are here for anything? An old man was choked by Zhang Fan's words and also looked at this unfamiliar stranger. I am an old man in this courtyard. It's you, I haven't seen you as a stranger yet. What kind of person are you? Watching the scene of 2 people drawing swords and crossbows. Lu Guizhi standing aside also stood up to try to smooth the situation. Grandpa, this is my new son.In.Law Zhang Fan, who just arrived today. I haven't introduced these neighborhood leaders to the courtyard yet. After finishing speaking, he turned around and said to Zhang Fan. Xiao Fan, this is an old man in the courtyard, Zhonghai. Of course, Zhang Fan knew that this was an old master in the courtyard, after all, he had read the script in advance. After listening to Lu Guizhi's introduction, the old man also felt a step down on his face. Then he planned to express his thoughts in his heart. But then Zhang Fan continued. What's this, Grandpa? You haven't replied to me yet. Our children and family in this house, you don't even knock on the door and just come in directly. Is such behavior worthy of being an uncle? I was choked by Zhang Fan's words and felt that the young person in front of me had no manners. But the old man did know that he was unreasonable in this matter. I realized that I came to ask for a bowl of fish soup for the deaf old lady to drink, so I didn't express my anger in my heart. Just said with an accompanying smile. This is indeed my fault, I apologize here first. I came to ask if we still have fish soup here. Well, the old lady in the backyard is in her 80s and has bad teeth. What I want is to come and give the old lady a bowl of fish soup to drink and warm her body in the winter. After listening to Zhonghai's words, Zhang Fan thought to himself, hey guy, isn't this here to borrow flowers as a gift to Buddha? You are a level 8 fitter with a monthly salary of over 80 yuan. Can't you even manage a bowl of fish soup for the deaf old lady? And now there is no implementation of grain quotas, not to mention managing a bowl of fish soup, even eating a meal of fish is not a problem. But Zhang Fan did not say these words, although he knew the hearts of these beasts. But Zhang Fan still doesn't want to make the relationship too strained. After all, this Zhonghai is the most calculating. Compared to the small profits calculated by the three masters, Zhonghai, the first master, is the heart of calculation. I didn't see that Su Damao was being calculated by Zhonghai, and the whole courtyard was shouting and beating badly. But is Su Damao really that bad? Actually, it's not the case. He's just retaliating against those who messed with him, such as silly Zhu. Thinking of this, Zhang Fan also politely spoke up. Sorry, there's no fish soup left. Please go back. After speaking, he stood up and tidied up the dishes with Lu Guizhi. Set Zhonghai aside like air. It's Zhonghai's turn now to be dissatisfied. Mr. Cook carefully looked at the empty basin on the table, and it was indeed without fish soup. So he couldn't say anything either. I had to leave alone in embarrassment. After Zhonghai left. Fancy, don't we still have some soup base left? Just heat it up for the old lady. Zhang Shi spoke softly. At this moment, Zhang Fan and Lu Guizhi both looked at Zhang Shi with a silly expression. You're still too young to understand the situation of the people in this courtyard. Lu Guizhi said. This old man, when we can't afford to eat. Can you see that he has helped us? Don't be fooled by his enthusiastic and kind-hearted demeanor. In fact, he is establishing a filial image. In order to find a retirement candidate for him in the future. Lu Guizhi explained in one sentence the motives and purposes of an old man. Upon hearing this, Zhang Fan only felt that his future mother-in-law was the one who crossed over. How could he finish what he had to say? Alright, pack up and rest now. Tonight, you and I will squeeze in and let Fancy sleep in your room. Upon hearing these words, Zhang Shinue's small face turned red again. So he quickly tidied up the dishes and ran into the kitchen as if running away. Xiaofan, I'm sorry I made you laugh. Thanks to you, our family doesn't have to sell houses anymore. Lu Guizhi looked at Zhang Fan gratefully and said. It's okay, Mom. We're all family. Zhang Fan smiled and replied. There was nothing to say overnight. Early the next morning. Zhang Fan then went out and took a car back to the countryside. Zhang Fan plans to complete the procedures for household registration and marriage. Chongping, Zhangjia village. Before long, Zhang Fan arrived at the village director's place. All the procedures have been completed. However, Zhang Fan was not in a hurry to return to the 49 cities. But instead, I wandered around the mountains near my hometown. Zhang Fan was wondering if he could sell some wild goods today to improve his life. After undergoing body transformation with Lingquan water. It's not a problem for Zhang Fan to hit 10 empty-handed now. So naturally, the idea of hunting also arose. New book set sale, seek data, seek flowers, seek evaluation tickets. Chapter 7. Great Harvest. You are listening at novel.Audio. Sure enough, with the help of Lingquan water as bait, Zhang Fan quickly hit 7 or 8 rabbits. Everyone weighs around 10 pounds. Zhang Fan looked at the rabbit in his hand that he could no longer hold. Suddenly, an idea sprouted in my heart. Since the spiritual field space can grow things, can these animals be placed inside? Do whatever comes to mind. Zhang Fan uses his mind to communicate with Ling-Tian space. Then try putting the rabbit in your hand into it. As expected, the rabbit was successfully brought into the spiritual field space. Confirming his own ideas, Zhang Fan was also overjoyed. After all, this way we can hunt more prey. Don't worry about not being able to capture too many prey. And not only that. At this time, Zhang Fan also had an additional idea of raising these animals. Hunting alone is not enough. In the difficult years ahead, there won't be any bark left, let alone game. Open source and cost saving, the quality of life cannot decline, so we can only start from open source. It seems we can't slack off. But now my space is only 1 acre square. It's definitely not possible to raise these wild animals. Let's go back to the village next time to see if there are any chicks and raise a few. In this way, even eggs are not lacking. After determining one's own ideas, Zhang Fan estimated to repeat the plan, set traps, and use spiritual spring water to lure wild animals to the bait. During this period, Zhang Fan also caught a wild boar weighing over 300 pounds, 6 wild rabbits, and 3 wild chickens. Haha, this is enough to eat for a long time now. Because of the abundant spiritual energy in the spiritual field space. So the food inside can be kept fresh for a long, long time, even if it's left for 10 or 20 years, it won't spoil. Pack all the spoils into the spiritual field space. Zhang Fan took out a wild chicken and 4 wild rabbits. Carry it in your hand and walk back to the village. After returning to the village, Zhang Fan found the village director, gave him a wild rabbit, and expressed his intention of coming. Not long after, driven by the wild rabbit, Zhang Fan quickly exchanged for the chicks he wanted. Zhang Fan exchanged his wild chickens and rabbits for 10 pairs of male and female chicks. After all, every family is facing difficulties now, and the chicks need to grow up for a period of time, during which they also need to eat a lot of food. It's better to exchange ready-made food with Zhang Fan, after all, getting through this winter is the key. Carrying a basket of chicks, Zhang Fan found a place without anyone around. All of them were collected into the Ling-Tian space. Then he went to catch the bus. The first step has been completed. The next step is to wait for the chicken to grow up. By the way, we still need to get some wheat seeds back and plant them. But wheat seeds are not easy to handle now. Almost every household in rural areas has planted all the seeds they have sown. There is no margin. After all, everyone is looking forward to a bountiful harvest and a full meal next year. Zhang Fan plans to wait until he returns to the 4 or 9 cities to see if it is possible to obtain wheat seeds. Even if it doesn't have a significant impact, it's okay to plant something else. The car started slowly. The roads nowadays are not like the era when Zhang Fan lived, most of them are still muddy roads. Sitting in the car is bumpy without stopping. Not long after, with the bumps of the car, Zhang Fan returned to the 49th city. When we get to the entrance of the courtyard soon. Zhang Fan found a place without anyone around and confirmed that there was no one following him. Then take out a portion of today's harvest, a wild chicken. Then take a big step towards the entrance of the courtyard. As soon as I entered the door, I saw 3 aunties washing clothes in the front yard. Upon seeing Zhang Fan enter the hospital, the 3 aunties first glanced and then saw the wild chicken in Zhang Fan's hand. Quickly stopping his work, he started chatting with Zhang Fan with a smile on his face. "Oh, Xiao Fan has returned. You didn't say hello to the people in our courtyard when you first arrived. I heard you went back to the countryside today. Do you need the 3 aunties to help you clean up the wild chicken in your hand?" Zhang Fan naturally also knows about the 3 mothers. If it weren't for his reading of the original work, perhaps with Zhang Fan's pure nature, he would have asked the 3 aunties to help clean it up. But this cleaning, what kind of chicken head and internal organs, they're all gone. On the surface, this may seem like a kind-hearted help, but in reality, it started from the moment Zhang Fan entered the door. We have already started calculating. Zhang Fan said calmly. San de ma, no need, I just love to eat some internal organs, so I won't trouble you. Watching Zhang Fan mercilessly expose her calculations with a warm smile. San de ma also lost her temper. Then he buried his head and continued washing her clothes. I will no longer talk about family matters with Zhang Fan. After Zhang Fan leaves, the three mothers immediately put down the clothes in their hands. Wipe the water stains on your waist apron and quickly rush back into the room. My child's father. This is really amazing. Today, when I went back to the countryside, I ended up catching a wild chicken. This is about going back and calculating with the third master again. For courtyard. Zhang Fan just walked to his doorstep. Just about to open the door. Feeling a sensation in his heart, he looked towards the Jia family on the side. As expected, a pair of sneaky eyes were staring through the window at the wild chicken in his hand. Zhang Fan felt only amused in his heart. Then he entered the house. Wait until Zhang Fan closes the wooden door. Bang! There was a considerable commotion coming from the neighboring Jia's house in an instant. New book set sale, seek data, seek flowers, seek evaluation tickets. Chapter 8. Getting Married. You are listening at novel.Audio. Just as Zhang Fan entered the room, the sound of words came from the neighboring Jia family. But the words were very quiet, only they could hear them from their own homes. Humph, look at how I beat a wild chicken to give you a cow. Eating something that hasn't been eaten before. It's only been a few days now. After not working, I still have to go back to the countryside. Jia Zhang inexplicably began to lose his temper in the air. I see. What kind of game will you play when deep winter arrives? My family Dongshu still has a promising future, and the iron rice bowl in the steel rolling mill. Can you compete with it? Zhang Fan didn't know that his wild chicken would attract such curses. At this moment, Zhang Fan had just pushed open the door. Lu Guizhi's mother and daughter welcomed her. Xiao Fan, how did it go? How did the procedures go? Did it go smoothly? As soon as Lu Guizhi saw Zhang Fan enter the door, she asked about today's situation. Well, Mom, everything goes smoothly. After Zhang Fan finished speaking, he took out the necessary procedures for household registration, migration and marriage from his pocket. That's good, that's good. It seems like a stone in her heart has finally landed, and Lu Guizhi's face also shows a happy smile. After regaining her senses, Lu Guizhi finally saw the wild chicken in Zhang Fan's hand. Xiao Fan, is this? Lu Guizhi asked curiously. Mom, this is the wild chicken I caught in the countryside mountains today. Let's have chicken tonight. After speaking, Zhang Fan handed the wild chicken in his hand to Lu Guizhi. Lu Guizhi took the opportunity to take it, and 2 lines of moved tears fell from a kind face. Okay, Mom will go make something delicious for you right now. Okay. We have chicken to eat tonight. Zhang Shi on the side was also happy to see the situation and said. You dead girl. How many times have I told you that girls should pay attention to their appearance? Lu Guizhi pretended to be angry and laughed, but her happiness couldn't be concealed. Zhang Fan's arrival has changed their family too much. Mom, Fan Zige is already my husband anyway, what's the point? Speaking of which, Zhang Xinyue's pretty face turned red again. Are you okay to say that? Coincidentally, you accompanied Fan Zige to get your household registration. I'll make dinner for you at home. Lu Guizhi said straightforwardly. Mom, this is Zhang Xinyue pulling Lu Guizhi's hand and coquettishly saying. What? Didn't you just say that Fan Zigu is your husband? Why are you shy again now? Lu Guizhi looked at her daughter and joked. After speaking, Lu Guizhi turned around and picked up the chicken and walked into the kitchen. Afterwards, only Zhang Fan and Zhang Shi were left alone in the room. At this moment, Zhang Xinyue's face turned even redder. "Let's go, Xinyue, come back early to have dinner." Watching the sun still hanging outside, Zhang Fan thought of finishing things as soon as possible. Upon hearing Zhang Fan's words, the awkward silence was also broken. Zhang Xinyue walked forward with her head buried, holding on to Zhang Fan's solid arm. "Let's go, brother Fanzi." The sound of Zhang Xinyu, like a mosquito, rang in Zhang Fan's ear. "I feel waves of warmth and softness coming from my arms." Zhang Fan felt a wave of relief in his heart. "It seems that my little daughter.In.Law is quite shy." Upon seeing this scene, Zhang Fan could only sigh at how innocent the girl is now. Compared to later generations, she is like heaven and earth. Before long, the two of them walked out hand in hand. The two first arrived at the street office. "But I didn't think that the person who handled the household registration was not here today, so I asked for leave and went back to my hometown." "Okay, it's worth a trip." The two had to go around to the Civil Affairs Bureau. Carrying freshly bought melon seeds and big white rabbit milk candy. Zhang Fan walked in hand with Zhang Xinyue. Not long after Zhang Fan presented relevant documents such as an introduction letter. The two of them also smoothly pulled off their marriage certificate. After leaving the Civil Affairs Bureau, Zhang Xinyue looked at the marriage certificate in her hand, and her silly smile never stopped. The marriage certificate of this era is just a piece of paper without even a photo on it. However, Zhang Xinyue still became happier as she watched. "The smile on my face is as sweet as eating honey. Looking at such a charming wife beside me." Zhang Fan also took Zhang Xinyue to the department store. At the entrance of the department store. "Fanzi, what are we doing here? The things inside are so expensive, let's save some money to buy food." Zhang Xinyue said with a foodie-like expression. "You snack, let's go. I'll also buy today's food. Good things, let's buy too." After speaking, he pulled Zhang Xinyue and walked in. As soon as you enter the door, what catches the eye is a container selling clothes. Although there are not as many categories as in later generations. But the clothes here are aesthetically pleasing in this era. It's also unique. Looking at the woolen coat in front of her, Zhang Xinyue's eyes turned into a pair of small stars. But after seeing the price marked above, he shook his head and then said to Zhang Fan. "Fanzi, the things here are so expensive, we still have enough clothes to wear. Don't waste this money." "It's okay, your Fanzi brother has money." After speaking, Zhang Fan took off a woolen coat and let Zhang Xinyue try it on. "Give it a try and see if it fits well." Before long, Zhang Fan walked out of the department store carrying a bag and Zhang Xinyue. "Among them is the woolen coat that I just bought." The two of them held hands, sweetly swaying back towards the direction of the courtyard, just like a couple in their passionate love period. However, what Zhang Fan didn't know was that the scene of him buying clothes for Zhang Xinyue just now was witnessed by the three aunties throughout. New book set sale, seek data, seek flowers, seek evaluation tickets. Chapter 9. Chicken Soup Comes. You are listening at Novel Full.Audio. Number 95 Nanluogu Lane. At this moment, Zhang Fan and Zhang Xinyue returned to the courtyard hand in hand. Zhang Xinyue held Zhang Fan in one hand and the woolen coat that Zhang Fan had just bought for her in the other. He was still sipping big white rabbit milk candy in his mouth, sweet and overflowing with words. The two of them looked like passionate lovers. After returning to the courtyard, Zhang Fan and Zhang Xinyue went straight home. Even the three gentlemen who wanted to approach and inquire didn't even glance, so they went straight back to the house. Go home. At this moment, Lu Guizhi also prepared dinner. I made a simple chicken soup. Wow! It smells so good. As soon as she entered the door, Zhang Shi couldn't wait to taste the taste of chicken soup. You dead girl, every serious person, go wash your hands first before eating. As Lu Guizhi spoke, she took the bag from Zhang Fan's hand and pulled a chair for him to sit down. Xiao Fan, why buy so many melon seeds and sugar? Upon hearing Lu Guizhi's words, Zhang Fan smiled and said, Mom, isn't this marriage to Xingyue? Let's make some wedding candies to eat. Oh, look at my memory, I forgot about this. Ah, Xiao Fan, don't blame Mom. It's just that our family's previous conditions didn't allow us to deal with these smacking snacks. Speaking of which, Lu Guizhi blushed and lowered her head. Upon seeing this, Zhang Fan also comforted. It's okay, Mom. Life will get better and better in the future. Lu Guizhi looked at her son.In.Law in front of her and felt even more relieved. Well, let's not say it anymore. Come and try the chicken soup Mom made. After speaking, Lu Guizhi stood up and scooped a bowl of chicken soup for Zhang Fan. The fresh aroma of chicken soup continues to dissipate. Plus, there isn't much air pollution in this era. So naturally, it spread throughout the entire courtyard. The first person to smell the taste of chicken soup was Zhang Fan's neighbor, the Jia family. At this time, the Jia family. This damn Zhang Fan. Can't you make a living? Lao Jia, take a look. They are all bullying our orphans and widows. They eat so well every day and don't even know how to help our orphans and widows. I bought so many sweet melon seeds today, but I didn't even know to come and give them two to taste. Jia Zhang spoke harshly while picking up a nearby nest. I took a deep breath of the delicious chicken soup in the air and then bit it hard. It seems that this way of eating is not the steamed bun, but the fragrant, tender and mellow chicken. While eating, he looked at Jia Dongshu in front of him. Eating Dongshu, what's there to envy? Didn't your master say so? You'll soon be promoted to level 3 as a fitter. What does Zhang Fan compare to you for his salary of over 30 yuan per month? A homeless person who eats big fish and meat every day can't kill you. After speaking, he took another hard bite at the nest head. This scene made Jia Dongshu feel helpless in front of him. Silly Zhu's family. At this time, only he Rainwater and one child were at home in the Silly Zhu family. At this young age, he Rainwater was already hungry and pressed his chest against his back. Lying unconscious in bed. Did I have an illusion when I was hungry? He Rainwater murmured to himself. Brother Silly Zhu, how long will you be back? The rain is going to starve to death. I'm so hungry. Take a look, I'll go see who makes chicken soup. Thinking of this, he Rainwater struggled to get up from the bed and then moved his young body slowly towards the yard. The deaf old lady's home in the backyard. Zhonghai, where does this chicken soup taste from? The deaf old lady, who was still eating steamed buns, sniffed hard. Zhonghai on the side remembered the afternoon when Zhang Fan brought the wild chicken back to the courtyard. Madam, it's probably Lu Guizhi and his family from the Intermediate People's Court. Her new son.In.Law came back this afternoon after beating a wild chicken. The taste of this chicken soup is probably from their family. Zhonghai told the deaf old lady about this afternoon's event. Well, it's Lu Guizhi's family again. What good luck, son.In.Law here. Speaking of which, the deaf old lady's eyes twitched as if she had some thoughts. But she didn't say it, she asked instead. Where's the pillar? Did you come back? I missed that child. If only the pillar could bring me a bowl of chicken soup to drink. Old lady, my teeth are not good. It would be satisfying to have a sip of soup to drink. The deaf old lady changed the topic and pretended to care about Silly Zhu. Upon hearing these words, Zhonghai didn't even know that he was going to Zhang Fan's house to beg for a bowl of soup to drink. Just thinking of the scene where Zhang Fan choked on the ground yesterday. Zhonghai's anger grew stronger in his heart. But due to his need to establish a role model for elderly care. At this point, I had to come back to see if I could get a bowl of soup to drink. Thinking of this, Zhonghai said to the deaf old lady. Old lady, the pillar hasn't come back, but isn't there ready-made chicken soup here? I'll go to Zhang Fan's house and help you take a look. See if we can finish making the chicken soup and drink it. After all, it's all in the same courtyard, and neighbors should also take care of each other. After speaking, Zhonghai went out. The second master's house in the backyard. At this moment, the second uncle was educating the child when the taste of chicken soup drifted in unexpectedly. New book set sale, seek data, seek flowers, seek evaluation tickets. Chapter 10. Cautiousness of birds. You are listening at Novel Full.Audio. The second master's house in the backyard. This fan is simply too outrageous. His mother, take the little crucian carp you bought today and cook a fish soup. Lu Haizhong didn't even care about educating his son, so he quickly ran into the house and asked the second aunt to make fish soup. Upon hearing Lu Haizhong's words, the two sons still kneeling on the ground, Lu Guangtian and Lu Guangfu, were not calm anymore. Second brother, can we also have a bite of fish soup tonight? Lu Guangfu asked with a greedy expression, and even sucked in the smell of chicken soup coming from outside the window. You know, the two of them haven't seen any meat or fish for half a year, and they are always a mess. It just depends on my older brother occasionally having an egg, everything else. It was all eaten by my own father. What do you think? It would be great if we could have a hand-rolled noodles tonight. Anyway, that fish soup, I wanted to drink it, but according to our father's character, do you think it can be enjoyed? The second son of the Lu family has a clear understanding. Stop talking, Dad is here again. Kneel down quickly. As he spoke, his bangs turned back, still holding the feather duster he had just taught his son. What are you two kneeling for? Get up and help your mother with dinner. As he spoke, Lu Haizhong was about to have two sons drawn again. This scene made the two brothers so happy that they didn't even bother to get beaten. His mother, buy a cock tomorrow, and show our leadership style. Suddenly, something came to mind, and Lu Haizhong loudly instructed. The house of the three masters in the front yard. At this moment, Yan Bugue looked at the noodles in front of him with a worried expression on his face. Originally, the three masters and their family wanted to improve their meals today by making bowls and rolling out noodles to eat. Unexpectedly, as soon as the rice was cooked, the rich flavor of chicken soup came into the room. Smelling the aroma at the tip of his nose, and then looking at the clear and watery noodles in front of him, the three masters and his family fell into silence. Dad, what does this wild chicken taste like? Have you tried it? Yan Jiquang, the youngest son beside him, asked. Upon hearing his youngest son's words, Yan Bugue remained speechless for a while, thinking to himself, how could I know? Even if Yan Bugue is a primary school teacher, he is the only one in the family of 5 who earn money. How could there be surplus food to buy wild chickens and improve life when one person earns 5? When it comes to yesterday's fish soup, Yan Bugue can still have some explanation. After all, he often goes fishing and occasionally even subsidizes his family. But this wild chicken, he has never tasted it before. Upon hearing this, Yan Bugue also looked stern. What are you asking? I won't eat this noodles anymore. After speaking, it was as if the hand-rolled noodles I ate were the base of the chicken soup. While eating, Yan Bugue also inquired about the details from the three aunties. After all, the incident of Zhang Fan hitting a wild chicken was still brought back by the three mothers. After listening, Yan Bugue also began his calculations. I just don't know if this Fan can still catch the game. If he really has the ability, then Widow Lu's family is fortunate to have hired a good son.In.Law. But if you're lucky, then the matter with this house. We need to add up the total again. Speaking of which, the family also cooked fiercely with the taste of soup. Zhang Fan's house in the middle courtyard. At this point, Zhang Fan's family had already finished eating the whole chicken. Although most of the chicken was eaten by Zhang Fan, Zhang Shi and Lu Guizhi also had their stomachs bulging up and lying on chairs. After all, it is a body that has been transformed by Lingquan, so it is normal to eat more. After dinner, the family sat chatting about family matters. Bang! Suddenly, the sound of pushing the door rang out. Upon closer inspection, the person who came was Zhonghai. Zhang Fan saw again that it was Zhonghai, a righteous hypocrite. With a displeased expression on his face, he said, "Grandpa, didn't I say I had to knock on the door when I entered? What do you mean by this? My whole room is full of women. Are you just breaking in like this? Is that how you behave like this?" Zhonghai, who had just entered the door but hadn't spoken yet, was choked by Zhang Fan, but he couldn't say anything yet. Originally, Zhonghai thought about knocking on the door. But upon careful consideration, he was now an old man in this courtyard, hanging out among neighbors. "Can I still report it to you? I don't care if I go to the silly pillar's house. How come I still have to ask you about it? Even if a younger generation is an outsider, will they still discipline me?" So after some contemplation, Zhonghai pushed the door in directly. However, this time Zhonghai did not pay attention to Zhang Fan. He knew that Zhang Fan was just a door son.in.law, and it was probably Lu Guizhi who was in charge of this family. Just ask directly. "Sister Lu, I'm really sorry to disturb you so late. I'll make a long story short. You also know the old lady in the backyard. The conditions are not good. Yesterday, your old lady wanted to take a sip of fish soup to warm her body. Unfortunately, it's not there anymore. I'll come and see if I can get a bowl of chicken soup to drink today." After saying these words, Zhonghai glanced at Zhang Fan with a proud expression on his face. However, Lu Guizhi did not give a satisfactory answer to an old man, just said lightly, "Grandpa, now Xiaofan is in charge of my family. This wild chicken was also brought home by him, everything is handled by him, and I have no right to inquire." It is obvious that Lu Guizhi also feels disgusted by an old man's behavior of not knocking on the door. Upon hearing these words, the old man was also embarrassed in the same place. New book set sale, seek data, seek flowers, seek evaluation tickets.